Hi, this is G from Native Speakers Academy, and welcome to 10-Minute English. This is where we introduce short articles from the news for upper intermediate, that's B2 in the Common European Framework, upper intermediate level students. And if you want a little bit more information about what we do, then you can visit our websites, www.nsa-slovakia.com, and over here on the right side of the page you can see we've got Native Speakers Academy on YouTube, and I've just set up a new account under my full name, which is Graham William Hendry. So let's get into our article for today. The title of today's article is "The Lamps Are Going Out," and this is written by Theodore Dalrymple. As usual, I have highlighted important vocabulary in the text. You can check these words before or after we look at the article. It's your choice. And as usual, if you are looking for information about vocabulary, I recommend that you use Google. Define plus word is a good way to get a quick definition. If you want the history of the word, you can go to the online etymology dictionary, and if you would like a bit more information about words and their relationships, you can use the online graphical dictionary. So this article that we are going to look at is a little bit of information about what local governments are doing in the United Kingdom. So let's begin. The Lamps Are Going Out by Theodore Dalrymple. Last night, the streetlights in my pleasant little English market town were switched off at midnight. In fact, they've been switching them off at midnight for 2 months, but I have not been here to notice it. However, in this little development, or is it a reversal of development, may be seen all the economic troubles of the Western world. The lights are switched off as a cost-saving measure, not because of the aesthetic and cultural advantages of darkness, which in my opinion do actually exist, or because there is anything wrong with the electricity supply. Private houses are unaffected. You can still burn midnight oil if you want to. And I think the subtext here is that if you have money, you can have light. But if you don't, we're sorry. But why do costs need to be cut? A brief description of some of the town's finances might be helpful. Its most highly paid official receives in emoluments nearly 20% of the town's income through local taxation. 20% of the town's income. 20%. The payment of pensions to past employees, which are completely unfunded and must be found from current income, consume another 20 to 25% of that tax revenue. Current income. Do governments have income? I guess they do have a little bit. They must have. 2 years ago, a former employee took the council to a labour tribunal for wrongful dismissal, and the council spent 66% of its income in that year on legal fees. The employee's complaints against the council were not upheld, but that was scarcely of any comfort to the taxpayers, for the costs were not recoverable, even though natural justice required that she should be driven into penury and made homeless for the rest of her life to pay for her legal action, which was both frivolous and dishonest. Even if it provided no services at all, the council would still run at a deficit if it continued only with its essential business, which is to pay the salaries and pensions of those who work in it. and the various parasitical rent seekers like employment lawyers who live at its expense. And so the bureaucracy and its hangers-on does not exist to serve the public, but the public exists to serve the bureaucracy. In the past, the Council had reserves to meet its deficits, but these have been run into the ground, and it has therefore had to appeal to other larger sources of public funds, which themselves run on the same great pyramid principle as that of the Town Council. Indeed, the whole country, the whole continent, the whole hemisphere is run on that principle. But what cannot go on forever will not go on forever. The music, if it has not yet stopped completely, is slowing down and growing fainter. The Town Council finds it more and more difficult to run a deficit, and since it must continue to pay its salaries and pensions, or lose its primary purpose altogether, the only option that remains is to cut services such as lighting and rubbish collection, already down to once a fortnight, so that many people find themselves not only paying the council for rubbish collection, but disposing of their own rubbish as well. I wonder what will happen in the end. The curious thing is that the suppression of services has occasioned no public outcry. Why not? The first thing to mention is that a large proportion of the population pays no local taxes. It is too poor, too handicapped, too unemployed, too ill, too unwilling, too dependent on the state already to do so. Such people feel no outrage because in their hearts they know, as Lear put it, nothing will come of nothing. So there are a few extra words and phrases that I could have highlighted. Perhaps has occasioned is quite an interesting expression to use in this paragraph. This is not the complete article. If you would like to read a little bit more, then I will add a link to the original article when I post this video on the internet. As local councils cut back and cut back, services will slowly disappear. Services for the young, services for the old. Government cannot continue to grow, because as government grows, well, where does government collect its money from? Government collects its money through taxes from the people. The more people who work for the government, the less people they will be able to tax, the less private businesses they will be able to tax, the less money that they will be able to collect. So it cannot continue and continue and continue to grow. It will grow into such a point that it will begin to collapse through obvious contractions in services. And the example here presented where the lights are turned off is just one little example of how people are being trained to accept less. Another example that was mentioned in the article, of course, was the collection of rubbish and how people are being trained to organize, to sort and to dispose of the rubbish by themselves. So we are heading into very, very interesting times, and let's see where this takes us. You might be interested to search through the Native Speakers Academy web pages for extra information about topics of interest. As you can see from the page on the left here, we have a large collection of activity ideas for teachers and students and education news with relevant topics for discussion. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we have produced a large number of reports. You can see on the left here it's 121, and on the right here it's 147, so that gives us well over 250 different reports on various educational topics. You might also wish to visit our YouTube channels, where you can explore the work of really interesting educators such as John Taylor Gatto. You can surf through our videos on social philosophy from Stefan Molyneux, and you can maybe even have a look at our classic rants and speeches section. And there are also older projects there, the Education News Show and Underground Education. So I hope this has been interesting for you. If you have any ideas about how we can make this presentation a little bit better and brighter, then drop us a line, let us know. If you want us to make it a little bit more complex, a little bit simpler, we will do our very best. So this is about all we have time for today. Links to the article and anything else relevant will be posted with the video. You can visit us on the net. We are on most social forums: Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and we also run special one-to-one study programs in the English language. Just send us an email if you are interested. So, bye for now, and I hope to speak to you again very soon.